Good day, everyone. Welcome to Penang Peranakan Mansion in Penang. Before we begin, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Yi Ziyu, matric number 294043.
My name is Yang Zihui, matric number 292753.
Let's go.
My name is Lilian Tong, and I'm the Museum Director of Penang Peranakan Mansion, as well as the President of the Persatuan Peranakan Baba Nyonya Pulau Pinang.
Hi, Mistress Lilian Tong. Could you please tell us about a little of Baba Nyonya culture?
Okay, for the culture to exist, there must be the people. And so the Baba Nonyas are people who existed from maybe many centuries ago. And as early as 2000 BC, there was already Chinese men, seafarers, who have come over to Champa Funan and eventually to Nusantara. So the biggest, or back in those days, the Malacca and the Penang Baba Nonyas actually accredited it to the arrival of Cheng Ho, which is where trade with China exists. So the seafarers actually then made their way to Malacca and Penang, and much later, Singapore. And when they established their business there, they will settle there and waiting for the monsoon winds to change. They then maybe took local women as wives or even as helpers. And so these were either slaves or business partners or just women of the Nusantara. They were Thai, Burmese, Indonesian descent. And that is why the Baba Nyonya, the ladies, wear the sarong kebaya, because one of our earliest grandmothers may not be Chinese. And also at some point, they also took Chinese wives. And the Chinese ladies that came here actually assimilated, were enculturated and assimilated to the Nusantara culture.
Also, can you tell us about the architectural style of the building?
Oh, okay. Well, this building was originally owned by a man called Kapitan Chen Kengkui, who was not a Baba. But eventually, by his second generation, Chung Taiping, you can see that he was fully Straits Chinese, wearing suit and having stables of horses. Now, when he built this house in 1894, it was exterior-wise was like an English manor, and with even Scottish ironworks that was from my father in Glasgow, which you can see on the pipes was embossed on it, and then Minton tiles from Stoke-on-Trent, and teak wood, Burmese golden teak, and granite from India. So everything from all over the world came to build this house. And of course, the walls at that time were breathing walls. So we have to lime wash it. Even now, we cannot paint it, otherwise you cannot breathe. And then what makes a Baba house is actually the way they finish the interior by the tangible cultural heritage, the mother of pearl tables, the Victorian mirrors, Dutch lamps, Chinese lamps, waterfall crystals, and the decorations like epons and brass beds. That's what makes a house a Baba Nyonya house.
All right, that sounds interesting. Can you please introduce us more about the beautiful attire?
That is how the world was then. And why was it so special? Why were Baba Nonya's people so, I must say, unique? Yeah. And that's because we were influenced, inspired, and we live in a time of history where Penang was a port city. And that changes the whole thing, because if you go to the Protestant cemetery today, you will see there were Dutch, there were Russians, there were English, there were Jews, there were Armenians, there were the Achinese living in Penang. Now, in a city where people trade like this and live like this, where everybody is so cosmopolitan, they began to adopt a globalized worldview. And so that worldview is brought into their house, their home, and even the way they live their life every day, and in the kabaya. So while the Chinese men wore Chinese suits, san chong sam, or coat and tie with a bintang. See, they have a bintang, which is of a very Victorian design. And the ladies then wore baju panjang. The earliest clothes were baju panjang. So they were long tunics, fold over, and there's no belt. and worn with a sarong. Now, the earliest materials were batik, and usually they were from Indonesia. Very stiff batik with geometric prints, maybe some flowers in between. And then batik, no, up till today, our favorite batiks are from Pekalongan, Cirebon, Lasem. So they were from Indonesia because the earliest people who were makers of the batik, they were Chinese living in Semarang and those areas. And so they have the same aesthetics as what we have now, like, oh, we like this kind of colors, lighter colors, butterflies, and also the Dutch ladies were the artists for batik. Then over the years, there was a beginning of a move towards kebaya. And it started with the Indonesian revival and nationalism. People like Kartini, they started to wear the kebaya as a sign of nationalism. And it became like a wave, a craze, which was actually earlier started by the Dutch ladies. They wore Dutch lace. Then the Nyonyas, the Indonesian ladies wore it as a nationalistic costume. And the Nyonyas were caught up in this fashion. And so they adopted the kebaya. Then, when single sewing machine was invented, they realized they could make lace. Instead of buying Dutch lace to tampal here, they could just make lace on cloth. And so started the kebaya sulam.
So lastly, what message would you like to convey to our viewers about preserving the cultural heritage?
Well, in order to preserve something, it must already have been there. And why was it there in the first place that is worth preserving? Well, I think that it was the spirit, the Chinese man who came over here, and that includes all of us, most of us, and our ancestors were brave people. They when they left the boat in China or anywhere, India, to come to Malaya, do you know when they step on the boat, they won't even know whether they're going to arrive. They could die and perish halfway. So they were brave, courageous, and to come to a place where you cannot Google translate. All the words, like I go to China, I cannot read all the words. So you don't know, I'm a Chinese, but so foreign to me. So they came to a place like this. And they had vision, Nankong. They could see what was needed. That is, they schooled their children in the English because it was under the British administration, and that was like the language of the then known world. And they embraced all the things that are beautiful around the culture around them. So they were globalized. So I would think that they were people who were Renaissance. They were Chinese men, whether from poor families or wealthy families, and they had foresight and thinking. So in order to have foresight and thinking, you must be a Renaissance person. You must be resourceful. Coming to a place like this, you have to make friends and start everything, It's like, I can't even say I like throw you in the moon and you try to do something, because anywhere else now we have Google and we can bank in our money internationally. So they had none of these facilities. And so they were Renaissance, they were resourceful, and they were resilient and receptive. That means very accepting of other people's culture because they know themselves that they are on a foreign place. And they, as much as they want people to accept them, they begin to accept people. And I think that gave them a magnanimous heart to embrace all around them.
Hi everyone, welcome to Nyonya Plaza.
We order 3 of the most common dishes, ang ku kueh, miku, and pai tea. The name ang ku kueh comes from its shapes, which resemble a tortoise in Hokkien. It is made with a sticky glutinous rice flour skin and filled with mung bean paste and shredded coconut. The Baba Nyonya community often serve during significant occasions such as a newborn baby's first month or the birthdays of the elderly. Miku is a type of traditional steamed bun that is usually pink in color, which symbolizes good luck and prosperity, and has a slightly sweet taste. Miku is typically used in religious and cultural ceremonies among the Baba Nyonya community, especially during celebrations. Pie tea, also known as top hats, are crispy thin pastry cut filled with a savory mixture of finely shredded vegetables. The filling is usually seasoned with a mixture of sauces and spices, making it a flavorful bite-sized appetizer or snack. Pie tea is a popular dish in Peranakan Baba Nyonya cuisine and is often enjoyed during festive occasions.
Throughout this documentary video, we hope to raise awareness about our Baba Nyonya culture to our audience, and by showcasing the traditions of Baba Nyonya culture, their cuisines, their costumes, and the rich history of the Baba Nyonya culture. So we aim to preserve this heritage.
Thanks for watching.